Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is a Heel Heat Top 10. The topic of this time's Top 10? Top 10 CM Punk moments. Now, for all intents and purposes, CM Punk is done with wrestling, so it's a fitting time to kind of do a career retrospective on Mr. Punk. We're going to start off with our number 10. And the thing that introduced me to CM Punk was his feud with Raven. Being a fan of ECW, Raven was one of my favorite characters coming out of ECW, even in the WCW. And then we had ECW closed its doors, and we seen they here in Florida where I was living at the time. They soon after ECW closed, the time slot they had was replaced by a company called Major League Wrestling. It was run by Court Bauer, where Raven and some of the other guys, Shane Douglas went. Plus they had some up-and-coming talent like Low Key and Sanjay Dutt. Some Japanese talent would come over. But in MLW, I seen the Raven CM Punk feud, which was kind of cool because at the same time in TNA, Raven had CM Punk as part of his gathering. Now, come to find out that Raven and Punk were not only feuding in MLW, but they were also feuding in a startup company that I had heard rumblings about, but hadn't got to see anything yet, back from the Pennsylvania area, which was being run by Gabe Sapolsky, who was an understudy of Paul Heyman in the ECW, and Rob Feinstein, who everybody knows from RF Video and used to be the video recorder for everything ECW. So I went to search this out. Not only was the feud with Raven my introduction to CM Punk, but it was also somewhat of my introduction to Ring of Honor. I'd seen matches here and there. At the time, the internet wasn't what it is today. You couldn't go on and look up any match and find it. You kind of had to have someone send you a match or someone go, hey, check this out, which you did, but I searched out and I bought DVDs and I would watch anything that had this on there. And I was just enthralled not only by the Raven character, but the CM Punk character, the straight edge character that was rallying against Raven's decadent lifestyle. And it was such a refreshing turn, and he just jumped off of the page as someone that's going to make himself a huge star. One of the shining examples is if you go back and you watch Ring of Honor Wrestle Rave 2003, after a violent, bloody match, they do an interview in the back with CM Punk, Daphne, and Colt Cabana. And Punk, in classic Punk form, which we would find more later of, cuts one of his great promos talking about the reason why he hates Raven and how he's like his father being an alcoholic, and Raven pissing away all the opportunities he was ever handed to him. Just a great feud and a great introduction to one of the great workers of this century. Now, coming off of that, our number 9 moment, WrestleMania 24, and the first of his 2 Money in the Bank wins. This to me was a moment where I felt that WWE was finally getting behind a guy that I thought could carry the company into the future, a guy that I was a huge fan of. I was watching WrestleMania with a friend of mine named Mark at the time, who he wasn't, and funny his name's Mark, I get it, but Mark was watching with me, we're watching, and he knew that CM Punk was my guy, that CM Punk was a guy that I was a big fan of. And with them opening the show and CM Punk stealing the show, he kind of looked at me and goes, your guy won. He said they finally have faith in him, which we found out later they really didn't. But to be the start of what would be one of his many pushes and one of his actual ascensions to the top of the WWE, just a great moment. He had already been the ECW champion, which at that point was pretty much the equivalent of being the Florida Championship Wrestling Champion. It was a belt that they gave to guys that they were trying to get over, or that they gave to people as kind of a lifetime achievement award. They gave it to Dreamer, Mark Henry, Christian, guys that had been on the roster for a long time and never got to be champions before then. Which brings us coming full circle to our number 8 in WrestleMania 29. CM Punk's last WrestleMania, and probably one of his finest moments. Him versus The Undertaker was as good, and if not better, than any other match in either his career. Dare say The Undertaker, probably one of The Undertaker's 5 best WrestleMania matches. Easily. The stuff he did with Shawn and the stuff he did with Hunter are on a different level, but this was a different kind of match. The build-up was different. Punk and Heyman using Paul Bearer's death to get him over. It just, everything about it was just special, and him being part of the Undertaker streak and losing the Undertaker in a fabulous match, just another notch in the history of CM Punk's should-be Hall of Fame career. And our number 7, probably one of the greatest matches I've seen in this century. CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit 2012. Just a fantastic match with two guys that have wrestled each other all over the world several times and go out there, and I think this is their absolute best match that they ever put on. Just an amazing, amazing piece of art. If you have the WWE Network and you haven't seen this match, please go back and watch this match, because it's that good of a match that I believe it's easily in Daniel Bryan's top 5 of my favorite matches of his, and in CM Punk's top 5 of my favorite matches of his. Just an amazing match. Great ring psychology between two absolute masters. Now, number 6, the Money in the Bank cash-in on Jeff Hardy at Extreme Rules 2009. This is the first time in WWE we get to see heel CM Punk. And we get to see CM Punk really showing what he's best at, and that's being the cocky, arrogant heel. Just a great moment, a great passing of the torch from Hardy to Punk, a great way to establish him as a top-level heel. A good thing all around. Hardy was leaving the company pretty soon afterwards. Why not make one of the younger guys a star? And he absolutely did. This, to me, this is what really brought CM Punk into prominence and brought him into that main event picture, even though he had previously been a champion. Our number 5 is probably the match that put CM Punk on the map all over the world. The 90-minute match with Chris Hero and IWA Mid-South. Early on in both of these guys' careers, they both just had a chemistry together, and they meshed. Their styles just made for an excellent match where you could see that these two guys were going to be megastars. CM Punk, and both Chris Hero and CM Punk went on to have fantastic careers after the match. Just the start of what we would see, and what some people calling now the influx of indie style, Ring of Honor style wrestling into the whole wrestling world, where now we're seeing more and more of that bleeding over into WWE, bleeding over into TNA, and it all started here with these two guys with an epic matchup that really stole the show and really still sticks out to this day. Now, our number 4, back in 2011, CM Punk's contract was rolling up, and I think you know where we're going with this. The infamous pipe bomb interview. It was one of those raw moments that are going to live on forever. It's stunning. It was his Austin 316 moment, where everybody knew he was a star, everybody knew he was a top-level talent. This put him into that upper echelon where few people get to go, where John Cena gets to go, where Triple H is gone, where Steve Austin is gone, where not only are you a top-level talent, but you're one of the guys that we're going to hand the ball to and let you run with and put the company on your back. Just an amazing promo, whether you believe it was a work, whether you believe it was a shoot, whether you believe it was somewhere in between. He suspended disbelief. Everybody believed at the time it was a shoot. It dropped your jaw. It gave you something interesting. He shouted out Ring of Honor. He shouted out New Japan Pro Wrestling. Said hello to Colt Cabana. Talked about the backstage politics. It was just something so revolutionary and so different that it stands out like a sore thumb. And I just think it's one of the most... It'll probably go down as one of the most epic matches in Raw history. That, along with many other things, the 1-2-3 Kid beating Razor Ramon, ECW invading Raw, the WCW invasion of Raw, Raw simulcasting with WCW. All these great moments, and this is going to be right up there with all of them. Now, our number 3 is the Summer of Punk, the original Summer of Punk in Ring of Honor. What happened was CM Punk, on what was to be his last appearance in Ring of Honor, wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Gets a face reaction, turns on the crowd just like that, becomes a heel for the next few months, goes so far as signing his official WWE contract on the Ring of Honor belt, and pretty much for the next few shows goes out there and escapes losing the title, threatening to take it to WWE with him. Just an amazing time in Ring of Honor history, an amazing story that he was putting out there for everybody to follow. No one in the crowd knew what day was actually going to be his last day. Everybody already assumed that that he was done when he won the belt. That was to be his last day. They kept it on. He kept the belt. Just a great piece of work and a great way to show that even if somebody's leaving the company, you could show them the proper respect, and you could make a great storyline out of it and use it to build not only him, but your company as well. Our number 2 is Money in the Bank 2011 versus John Cena. The payoff from the pipe bomb. In my lifetime, there have been just a few times where someone's got the reaction that CM Punk got that night in Chicago. The stars aligned and made for a perfect situation. You had the pipe bomb. Everybody thought that CM Punk was leaving. John Cena is a guy that the crowd has been turning on and had turned on and wanted somebody else to be the champion. You get everything in order. Ace Steel and Colt Cabana sitting in the front row. CM Punk at his hometown. And what is a fantastic match and a fantastic story being told in the ring with these two guys. You get the best of John Cena. You get the best of CM Punk. CM Punk picks up the win, runs through the crowd, leaves the WWE with the championship, as he said he would do in the pipe bomb. We find later you see him putting pictures of the belt in his refrigerator, him going to baseball games with the belt, showing up at a Comic-Con that Triple H was at. All these little things that they aborted rather quickly, which they really shouldn't have. They should have drug it out a little bit more. But any way you slice it, just an amazing moment, and one of those moments in time that are few and far between where you really feel the electricity of the whole wrestling world just comes into one, and you feel that this is something special. Now, before we go into our number 1, we're going to go into the best of the rest. Basically, this is the stuff that just barely missed our list. First off, his ECW or WWE ECW debut against Just Incredible. They debuted him absolutely perfectly at the Manhattan Center, where ECW was a stronghold, where you still had the original ECW rabid fans were there, chanting for CM Punk. They already knew him from his work in Ring of Honor. He comes out with a fantastic debut, puts on a great match with Just Incredible, shows us, those of us that watched the show, got to see the beginning of what would be a megastar in the WWE. Even if the WWE didn't believe it, the fans really did. And we seen that guy and seen that megastar and seen him even in that match. Even if that was your first time seeing CM Punk, which it was for for the heavy majority of people that watch professional wrestling, that was, and they seen a star debut and you knew it. He absolutely stuck out like a sore thumb in the revamp of ECW. Next up, the cash-in on Edge. Not as great as his cash-in in Jeff Hardy, but the first time we really see that they're willing to give him one of the main championships, although he was never pushed to be the main part of the show. It was his first foray into the top of the card in the WWE. Last but not least, on the best of the rest, his match at SummerSlam 2013 versus Brock Lesnar. Just a well-worked match. The brutality, the scientificness, everything about the match was just a great amalgamation of what Brock Lesnar could do, what CM Punk could do, what Paul Heyman could do. And it just was a wonderful example of two guys that are absolutely special talents. Now, before we get into the number one, as we always say on these top tens, if you think we put something down too low, put something up too high, left something off the list altogether, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, put it down where? Down in the comments. And make sure if you like what we're doing or what I'm doing here, hit the like button as well. Now, our number one. The greatest of the CM Punk moments. It's actually 3 moments in one. Well known across the world as Punk versus Joe, the trilogy. We say CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship in 3 fantastic matches. The first match goes to a 1-hour draw. The second match goes to a 1-hour draw. The third match, we're given a 90-minute time limit. However, Samoa Joe wins, and I believe it was 35 minutes or something like that. Something you totally didn't expect. The story that these two phenomenal athletes told with each other through these 3 matches showed you why they were 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, and the 2 guys that you would see Samoa Joe become the face of TNA for a while, and CM Punk become one of the faces of WWE for a while. Just a fantastic trilogy of matches. I would put this trilogy up against any of the great trilogies in the history of wrestling. The Flair versus Steamboat trilogy, the Malenko Guerrero trilogy. Just a great 2 guys who are on top of their game and told 3 great stories between 3 amazing matches. Absolutely one of the things that really helped to take Ring of Honor from what was a little promotion with a lot of buzz to a more serious best indie promotion in America with tremendous buzz, because everybody had to see what Samoa Joe and CM Punk were doing with each other. Just an awesome combination. And basically, that's all I have to say about that. that was our top 10 CM Punk moments. My name is George Coles, and thank you for watching Heel Heat.